Hi, my name's Ashley Bishop, sports producer for B2B TV. Welcome to Coach's Corner. Today I'm sitting down with winter track coach and head boys cross country coach Dave Faszewski. Thanks for being here, Coach Faszewski.
Thank you, Ashley. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I guess first, maybe talk about how did you get into coaching? Like, what's your background in running, and like why have you stuck with it for so long?
Sure. I started running back in high school many moons ago, and I was a distance runner, and I was a 2-miler, and I ran all through high school out in Western Mass, and then I went to UMass, and I was a walk-on for a couple of years there, and then I stopped running, and my old high school coach recommended me for a job at Minnechaug Regional High School because they needed a distance coach. So then I started coaching there back in the late 80s and the first couple of years of 1990 and 91. And then I took a break, and then my son went to Barnstable, and as an 8th grader he started cross country, and I asked the coach at the time, Mike Merrill, if he needed any help. I would love to volunteer, and so then I volunteered for a season, and then he asked me if I would be his assistant coach for winter track, and he wasn't able to take on that season, so all of a sudden I got a promotion to being the head coach for, it was just the boys program at that time, and eventually I got the girls and boys under my supervision.
Wow, so like rapid ascension in the coaching world at Barnstable High School, but now you've been coaching 9 years at the high school level. I guess for us like non-runners, you know, or like athletes from different sports where running we just feel like is part of, you know, like how do you coach running? Like what are some of like the ways that like maybe someone like me wouldn't understand? We just think like, oh, you go out and run, right?
Right.
Where like there's got to be more to it.
Well, that is the basics. The basics is going out and running, and anybody can run. If you can walk, you can run. And the hardest part is when you're starting with new athletes is that you don't give them too much too soon, because most of the time, unless they've been playing other sports, whether it's soccer or football or some other sport, they're not going to have the muscles built up to be able to take the mileage. And so you want to start slowly and just build a little bit at a time with maybe you're running 20 or 30 minutes easy at the beginning, and then after a period of a few weeks, then you start to put some more speed work in there and try and get their the leg turnover. But the biggest thing is to really start easy and jog and run at a pace where you can have a conversation with the person next to you.
Right. I think one thing that I've seen just in the years, like since you've been here and since I've been coaching as well, is seeing athletes who, you know, didn't have success maybe like in football or in field hockey and soccer, and then they go to cross country and they end up loving it and really thriving. That must be something that's really rewarding for you as a coach.
Oh, it sure is. And then you never know who the next great runner is going to be. And you look at some people, and it happened, you know, back, I tell people the story when they're getting a little discouraged. There was a kid on our cross-country team, and if there were cuts, he would have been cut. He was the last one to come out of the trails at a meet. He would get lost. They'd have to send the team after him. But he kept coming every day, and the consistency paid off. By the time he was a senior, he won the state title in Division I cross-country.
Wow.
So you never know where someone's going to start and where they're going to end up. And if they enjoy the sport, they're just going to naturally get better.
Yeah, it's great to see kids like thrive, and it's a sport. It's a lifetime sport too. It's a sport that obviously you can continue on after high school, and it can just be a part of who you are, which is really neat too. So talk to me a little bit about winter track, because I think, you know, when you see the cross country team, you see the spring track team, you're obviously outside, you're on a course, you're on the actual track. In winter, it's a little different. So like, how is the winter structured, and how are your competitions?
Sure.
Like, how do they run?
So for winter track, there's 12 events, which is a little fewer than spring track. We only have a few field events. We have the long jump, we have the shot put, and we have the high jump. Then we have some sprint events like the 55-meter dash and the 55-meter hurdles. And then we have some distances like the 300-meter, 600-meter, 1,000-mile, and 2-mile. All of our meets are in, now that we're out of kind of the weird fall season too that we have, where our meets were all outside. Our dual meets are all held up at Wheaton College. They're one of the few places close by that has an indoor track where we can compete. And then the practices during the wintertime, we start at the CAF where we usually do our warm-up procedures and we have our coaches meeting. And then the captains will add anything they need to add. And sometimes we'll do hip mobility drills and core exercises there, and then we'll kind of split off into the different disciplines. So most days, the distance kids will be going outside to run, and if the weather's mild enough that we can get the sprinters and the jumpers outside, they will. Otherwise, we're kind of working with the facilities that we have. Sometimes we can get into the field house, and other times you might see our kids, after everyone's left, running up and down the halls, doing strides or whatever.
Right. And you've had success so far this season, obviously. You know, you had the girls team set, was it the distance relay, like the state record? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So we went to the Distance Classic a few weeks ago, and our girls team set the meet record for the distance medley relay. And that relay, we had 3 sophomores and a senior on that, and it consists of 1,200 meters, an 800 meter run, a 400 meter run, and then a mile. And I kept running back to my clipboard at the time, looking like we're on pace to break this record. And then I told the last athlete who was running the mile, I said, if we can go under 14:02, then we're going to get the meet record. And we smashed it. We ran a 13:38. So that was very exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, you know, I mean, that's interesting that you have like that, you know, kind of a mix of veteran runners, new runners who have like come together and succeeded in that way.
Yep.
That's super rewarding. You also, I mean, in the fall, you know, we had the #1 runner in Division I in girls cross country, Ava Bullock, which is pretty amazing. So a lot of big accomplishments for Barnstable running in the past, you know, few months. That must, you know, feel good from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, and so I got to help Coach Caldwell with the girls team at a couple of invitationals, and that's very exciting to me because some of these girls run winter track for me. One of the biggest accomplishments that I don't think people talk about enough is that the girls cross country team went to the state championship for the first time in 20 years.
Wow.
So that was really exciting. I was there with the girls team on that day, and they had 3 girls in the top 10, more than any other team. So that was super exciting to see Barnstable athletes. And then people are starting to recognize that Barnstable's got some real talent down here on the Cape. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're definitely, obviously it's hard when you're a sport that isn't like a natural spectator sport. You know, I mean, we want to make sure that we're highlighting these athletes in the same way we highlight hockey and football players. So it's so exciting that we have athletes of that caliber now at the high school. I guess my last question is, you know, like, now that you've been in coaching so long, like what advice would you give to like a young coach starting out? Like what are some of the challenges you notice, or like some of the most rewarding parts of coaching?
Well, I think one of the challenges is to continue to learn. And as long as I've been doing it, and as many books as I've read and videos I've watched and clinics I've gone to, I'm always learning. And I always have a book on different running techniques or different workouts and trying to develop the athlete. And then from a perspective of just seeing, it can be a brand new athlete that'll never go to the state championship, that'll never break a school record, but that they come and they're excited to be here every day. And to me, I had an email from a parent talking about an 8th grade athlete that came, and I had asked this athlete that maybe you want to consider distance. So this athlete started to run distance, and the parent said that all this athlete talks about when they get up in the morning is track and how excited that they are to go to track. And as a coach, that made my day. And just to see the kids improve and they take pride in what they're doing and a sense of accomplishment is the most rewarding thing for me.
Coach, is there anything else that you wanted to add? Anything that we should know about Barnstable track?
Yeah, I think one of the most exciting things is, and I set this goal out to these 2 young ladies at the beginning of the season, was to break a couple of school records. So Callie DeDeco broke her own 2-mile school record running 11:33 for the 2-mile.
Wow.
And Chloe Dibb broke the 1,000-meter record by 5 seconds running a 3:08, which was very exciting.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and they're young, so they can continue to keep breaking their own records.
Yep.
Which is really amazing. Best of luck through the rest of the season.
Thank
Obviously,
you.
you've got state relays,
Yep.
state meets coming up in the next month, so that's exciting. And then obviously the spring season as well. So thanks so much for taking the time. For B2B TV, my name's Ashley Bishop, and this has been Coach's Corner.